Hello, everyone, and welcome to my podcast. My name is Tiffany, and my husband and I are the owners of Creative Designs by Tiffany, a flower shop and event space located in upstate New York. While we'll continue to talk about the original flowers and floral arranging, we're expanding to talk about everything that I love and nothing that I don't. Thanks for giving us a listen. And today I'm joined by Dave Warner over here, who's laughing at that intro.
I'm going to put you on a teleprompter.
I know.
Starting in April.
I thought I might be able to memorize it, and then I said, you know what? I still am going to get tripped up on it. I still giggle to myself when I do. So
April's the month of
okay,
teleprompter.
April, we'll try it. We might slaughter it, but we'll try it. And then I'm also joined today by Mr. Bono, I call him, but Vincent is your real name. Goes by Jimmy Bono, right?
Correct.
Right.
$5 for every time we say Jim Bono.
Right.
Yes, okay.
That's another show. It's a middle name.
All right, perfect. Well, most people know you by that, right?
Yeah,
Jim.
yeah,
Okay,
Jim's
perfect. And he is. We're going to talk about this today. He is the former Herkimer County executive. Now has stepped into the role of the current Herkimer County Development Director. Am I saying that right?
Community Development Director.
Okay.
And I was chairman, not executive.
Chairman. Okay.
It's a little different. And there's three different forms of county government, and we were in the middle, and we have chairman in Herkimer County. But
perfect. So
close enough.
Good.
But thanks for the promotion.
Well,
anyway.
Good. So that's good. So you can correct us on that. So now I know for future reference. So that's awesome. So real quick before we get into it, I was going to mention one thing that's going on in Dallarsville, which is exciting, kind of. There was a young lady that was diagnosed with leukemia a couple of days ago. Tonight, Tuesday, when we're recording, I'm not sure when this is coming out. They're
tomorrow.
So
this is Tuesday, so it'll be out Wednesday.
Okay,
yeah.
So Tuesday night tonight, they're doing some fundraisers from the girls' basketball in Dallarsville to raise money for the family. They also have been putting together shirts that are fundraising too. So that's up on the screen. It's her name is Audrey Williams. So it's Team Audrey. It's the shirts. They are going to be ready as of Friday, and we are going to be selling them in the store. So I wanted to make sure that I put that plug out there. We'll have more on it. I think at some point, a little bit more of the information. I'm sure they'll do more fundraisers down the road, but just to kind of keep an eye out on that too. Before I forget, I want to make sure I mention that.
We'll do a little story on her.
Yeah. So great family. Jen, her mother, is on board with me. Great woman. So I wish all the best to that family and stuff, and hope that she pulls through. I think I haven't heard any reports recently, but I think she's doing okay-ish right now. So her 21st birthday was on Saturday or Sunday, so worst timing in the world, but we're sending positive thoughts to her and prayers. And
cancer doesn't look at the calendar.
I know. It's amazing. So anyway, so keep an eye out for that. And then in the meantime, we're going to get into now Herkimer County, everything exciting going on. So the reason why I wanted to have you on was I'm very excited about this new kind of position to the county of how it's basically promoting Herkimer County and everything that's in it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
very excited.
Yes, and you've only been in now officially a couple of weeks, or
this is going in my third week.
Okay, well, thank you for taking the time as you're getting your feet wet and learning all of the things about it.
Well, it's good to get the word out and let people know what's happening in Herkimer County.
Exactly, and that's the tagline, right? What's happening?
It's happening.
It's happening.
Yeah, we back in, if I may, back in 2020, actually before that. Some community leaders, we got together, and I was chairman at the time, and I talked to them. I said, wouldn't it be great if we had a study done and to learn about Herkimer County, what people want, what they don't like about it, what they like about it, and so we contracted out. We got a consultant, Peter Fairweather, who's done some local work and some big projects. And Tiffany, I want to thank you for being a part of the group here as an advisory group. So what happened in 2020, the legislature, with their backing, we commissioned this study, and it was a comprehensive study that went out throughout the county, and we talked to county leaders, local leaders, community groups, and the public in general. So we did this collaboration with all facets of the community. And out of this study came this thought of maybe we should have somebody in the role of a community development director that would go out and promote the county, because we've never done that as a county. We've been very centric to our own communities, our own hometowns, which are all great places to live. But I live in the town of Schuyler. I never really knew what went on in Little Falls until I got into politics, actually.
Right. Yep.
And then you get invited to all these things, and you say, geez, there are a lot of things to do in our community.
There is. We find that, yes.
Yeah. So it's just crossing that line, and nobody wants to cross that line. But
it's very siloed up here in New York. Yeah,
absolutely. And so, on a long winter, which hasn't been too bad this year, but
it's still been long though. You can't take the time away.
Yeah,
I get that. Absolutely. But there are so many things to do, and on a Friday night or a Saturday night, my wife looking at one another, go, well, what do you want to do? We have friends and we go out, but maybe you want live music. Maybe you want karaoke, and you don't want me to do karaoke, or you want trivia night or anything, that's just a quality of life event that you're looking for, that people are looking for. So out of this study came this position. We said, hey, isn't it great if we have somebody to promote? And Deb Kessler, who did a great job for us, took the position. It was a brand new position. We hired her back in October of 22. Yep. And she ran with it. But her business grew. She's got a private business where she does promotions herself and at a grander level. And so she went on, and she's actually turning away work. She was doing it. So, but kudos to Deb. It's been a great inspiration, and she really knows a lot of people, and I learned that. So the position opened up, and I just got reelected. I have to step down as chairman because we have term limits.
Oh, what a concept!
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Wow.
I didn't realize that in Herkimer County. That's great.
Oh, they do.
That's
As
great.
legislators, you run for 2 years, and then you have to, and then if you go into a leadership role, whether it's vice chairman or chairman, you could only run for 2 consecutive 2-year terms. So way back, I think it was in 2012, I became vice chairman for 4 years, became chairman for 4 years, became vice chairman again for 4 years, and then chairman again for 4 years.
So there are ways around it.
Wow.
So out of the 22 years, I held leadership for 16 of those years, and I'm very humbled and grateful to the legislature and that gave me that support.
Awesome.
And so a lot of things, good things, I think have happened. I think I've left a good fingerprint on the community, and but in the meantime, I mean this again, let's get back to the study where this branding of the county came out, and what came out of it was it's happening in Herkimer County. That was our brand that we wanted to put out there. So we weren't pushing that as much as we should, but I'm going to try to do that now. And if you notice our posts on our Herkimer County government Facebook page, I've done a lot of posts, and I say Herkimer, it's happening in Herkimer County, or happening in Herkimer County. And
with your hashtag.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have to post that. But you'll see in the coming, if not by the end of this week, where there'll be a link for Facebook on our webpage, the county webpage, which is herkimercounty.org. Okay. So you can go on that by the end of the week and find that Facebook page, and it will, we will list on a daily basis what's going on in the county throughout, the week or the month, and we'll do refreshers and reminders of things that are going on, and I want people to really share it, So I'm liking all these groups, and it's exploding exponentially. So the more we can do that, the better off we'll be, and get the word out of what's happening. I know, Dave, you do a lot of good work with your page, and it's not to
but I don't look at the whole county.
Right.
It's like I'm just looking at my specific area, typically Herkimer, Little Falls, Dallasville, Salisbury.
Right. But I do, borrow some of your stuff, if you will.
You can link to anything you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've posted some things, and it's great to share. So I guess sharing is caring, and that's what we need.
Oh, is that the new term?
Yeah, well, it is today.
Yeah, all right.
So if we can do that more, that's exponentially, this will take off, and then you could be a one-stop shop of places. So this is sort of like a chamber of commerce, but we deal with, I'll push anything from civic groups, social groups, not political, but government groups that need to advertise a certain thing that's going on for their community.
Well, for instance, it could be early voting location.
Absolutely, I've done that.
Something like that. Yeah. That's not political, but that's something that the whole county
poll
needs
workers.
to know.
We need poll workers. I posted that the other
that,
day.
yep.
But social groups, civic groups, fraternal, religious groups, if the church is having an ice cream social or chicken barbecue, anything that brings people together, any activity, God knows there's enough festivals, especially in Little Falls alone, the Cheese Fest, the Garlic Festival, the Diamond Days Festival, to name a few. So the more that we can put on the calendar, the better off this will be for everybody to know what's going on. And it's happening in Herkimer County, and have pride. And this will develop pride in the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, so, I'm excited about it. And then we have an advisory group, by the way, with that came out of that study. And Tiffany, thank you for sitting in it. But there's like 7 or 8 people that are on that advisory group that are at large in the community, that are all different aspects: business owners, political people, social people, everybody that's contributed somehow in the community, and they were picked selectively because of what they knew, and it's a wide arrangement of characters there that we have. So
characters.
Well, characters.
They're fun meetings.
They do have characters. And we have fun at the meetings. So and we're not, we want to bring more people in eventually, maybe, and get a vibe of what's going on, and let us know what you think of the community. And we got some great hometowns. They're all great hometowns. Yeah. And I like this. I like the term. Herkimer County. We have a hometown for you. And we. It's catchy, and we really do it. If you, so
that's not bad. Well, I like that. It's growing on me. Herkimer County, we have a community for you.
We have a hometown for you.
Our hometown.
Cool. Yeah. So and experience Herkimer County. I know Old Forge uses that. Mike Farmer up there has that on his website, and that's a great title also. And I had a great meeting with him last week, by the way, and we talked about what he does, and there's I Love New York, that campaign that Dave actually manages for the county, and we funnel that money as a legislature. We get that money, and it's a pass through from the state. And Dave is the third-party administrator for that, and he posts events and calendars for throughout the county, but usually the bigger events. Mm-hmm. Had a great meeting with him last week, and he was excited that he can, with that money, he can do the bigger events, and where I can concentrate on the smaller events and the medium-sized events. So we had a great meeting, and we're going to work great with him, and he has a calendar up there, and we may push people into his calendar, because the calendar that we have, I'm not crazy about it. It just doesn't have a good push with it, and a good vibe, and it's bland, to be honest with you. But we'll hook up with Mike's calendar, and then people can go to that, or they can certainly go to, and there'll be links on our website.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm going to ask you then a couple questions about Herkimer County, because you've been all over now and stuff. So what's one of the surprising underdog towns that you think that you didn't know much about, or village, or I guess we have quite a few different pieces, but
where do you start?
I know
mean, that's a tough question. Certainly, it's not an underdog town, but it's a city. I mean, the city of Little Falls has got a great vibe. I call it the Renaissance going on, and that's there's a
bar
pub,
there.
There's a bar. But I've always said that before that there's this great Renaissance in Little Falls, and people are coming back from. They've left the area and come back. I think our mayor has done that, and you, Dave, have done that.
There's a lot of, and they call them boomerangs.
Boomerangs, right. Yeah. And they come back, and they experience the world, and they say, hey, why not do this in our own community? Yep. Old Forge is Old Forge. I mean, everybody knows Old Forge.
People forget that's part of Herkimer County. I forget all the time that's part of Herkimer County.
The county is what, 95 miles long? Is that right?
Yeah, I say it's about an hour and a half long by half an hour wide. I don't go by miles, but it's the geographically, I think it's the biggest county geographically. Yeah. So a very long county, obviously, but a lot going on, and we have the 4 seasons, and all different types of industries. I didn't know this, but when I went to Old Forge the other day, Mike said that hiking is actually the biggest activity.
Wow.
Which makes sense, I
In
guess. You know,
Old
you have a lot
Forge,
of
hiking?
Yeah, well, there's
Really?
a lot of land and a lot of trees and
Interesting.
forest land up there. So I thought snowmobiling was their
Right,
biggest
yeah.
industry,
Yeah.
and I know a few years back that was a $50 or $60 million industry on a yearly basis that it came back into our community. But he said hiking, people, you know, you think about it, you could hike 4 seasons of the year. Snowmobiling,
Even if you don't get the snow, you can
Right.
still hike.
Yeah.
You can
It's
say,
been-
let's go ahead and walk the trails.
yeah.
Huh,
Been a
interesting.
tough year for them up there.
Oh,
as far
yeah.
as
Oh, I'm
snowmobiling.
sure.
There's not much.
Sure.
The trails are open right now, some of them,
Yep.
but it all depends. They're talking for 40, 45 degrees
Yeah.
for the next 10 days here. So
I know.
it's not
Except for
looking good.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think it's cold Saturday,
Yeah.
but yeah.
I'm not
But,
complaining. I still love. I like a little bit warmer. I'm not a big snowmobiler. That's
No,
not my thing.
no.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
I'm with you, Tiff.
So,
I'm
so
with
what
you.
else is there to do then in Herkimer County that you know coming up? That's not snowmobiling. Maybe inside something
Yeah,
warm.
I mean, this time of year, it's everything's confined indoors for the most part, but the trivia nights and the
Yeah.
music and the live activities that there are. There's a lot of charity events going on.
Yep.
But the outside, there is some outside. There's some snowmobiling
Okay.
charities and ice events and fire and ice type
Okay.
things
Yep.
going on. So we'll put that all on the calendar. I know Abraham House is having one, which is they're a respite house for people with terminal illnesses, and they service, I think, 3 counties.
Okay.
And we're trying to get a presence for them here, actually, in Herkimer County. Actually, they're looking to put a home in Little Falls. They've certain
Wow.
they like Little Falls or the Mohawk area where they can put a home in there with anywhere from 2 to 6 beds, I believe it was, where they can help the
Yeah.
public out and people with terminal illness
Mm.
or near end of life,
Yeah. Yeah.
and the families can be there.
Right.
So it's a great organization. So they're having a fire and ice event
Right.
coming up, and it's in Oneida County, but that certainly doesn't mean we can't cross that
Right,
line.
right.
And
Well,
so,
we can cross the lines,
We
right?
can,
That was one thing we
absolutely.
talked
That's-
about before. That's enjoining everybody together because it's New York, but then a little bit more smaller. But you can go to a different town and have something going on, or might go to the different county. Maybe one day we'll have the race to see who's the better county. But right now we got to
know
really go.
always.
Yeah, I know that's.
I just want somebody to define where the Mohawk Valley is and where Central New York is, because it's
True.
different with every person
That's
you
true.
talk to.
Central New York is anywhere between Syracuse and
Here and
Albany.
there.
I think
No,
that's,
here and there.
Yeah, that's anywhere the stretching part. So maybe that's one thing that you can put on your list to figure out and define what the Mohawk Valley is
we
for
can have
us.
a contest.
Yes, yeah.
Well, I never think of Utica as being the Mohawk Valley, so it's
Well, they do. I mean, but if
Yeah.
you talk to people in Utica and Oneida County, they talk to us. They talk about us as the Valley. So,
Yeah.
are we the
Yeah.
Valley, or
Well, I think
are they part of the Valley?
I would say we are,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Next study. That'll be the next study
Next
for New York
study,
State
yeah.
to take on. So
It's a bigger area than you think.
very neat.
Oh, yeah.
So how different is it then for you from going from a political aspect to now having kind of fun? Is it enjoyable so far these past few weeks?
It
or-
actually frees up time.
Yeah.
On the calendar end, where this is more freelance,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do what you want at your pace and not
Great.
at someone else's schedule. It's a part-time job. It's a 2.5 days, 19 and a half hours a week.
Yep.
And but I'm trying to set a weekly schedule of Tuesday, Wednesday, and half a day Thursday. But that changes at a moment's
I'm sure,
notice
yes.
because events will come up and you have to attend those events, and I'll have to work weekends, which I have no problem with. People know me. I'm a shark. I keep swimming, and otherwise you'll drown. So, been active in the community a lot. I was at one point when I was chairman, I was on 25 or 27, I counted, different committees, groups,
Oh, my
organizations,
God.
foundations, and so that's slowed down a little bit, but I'm still active, and so I'll be working weekends, and with Dave's help maybe, and getting to these
Absolutely.
events and taking some video and asking people.
We got to give you some training.
Yeah.
I'll give you some training. That's what
Yeah.
we need to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm all up for it, Dave. I
Yeah.
mean,
No,
I
I got
did
some
buy a
ideas.
GoPro, if that means anything.
Depends on how you use it.
Yeah.
That's really cool. You're gonna have to get your own handle then, so we can watch it with the GoPro everywhere you go and
If I
document
can figure it
and-
out, I'd go on YouTube and try to figure it out. And these, tutorials.
But you're an iPhone guy, right? You have an iPhone.
I do have an iPhone, so I
Okay.
could probably do the
You
same.
could have done, yeah.
Awesome.
Well, we'll talk after.
All right.
That's
all right.
perfect.
We'll do that.
We'll be looking for that.
I'm
That'll
gonna,
be fun.
I'm going to
I'm
be
not a
doing
tech
some
guy,
classes
but-
on that too.
Great.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
So I will.
Yep, that's awesome. Yeah. I think that's really cool because then we'll see everything that's going on in
Yeah.
your travels and see a
it's
little
just,
bit.
They have all these shows on TV where there's a traveler, they go around,
Yeah.
and maybe I could be that guy.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
I know a guy.
Yeah, I know a guy. That's good. That was one of Dave's
I've
ideas.
always wanted to do a show like that. I know a guy.
Well, and I tell people I want to be the ambassador.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when
Yep.
people say, "Hey, there's the ambassador," and that's, I guess you got to brand yourself along with the
Yes.
county
Yep.
and to get the word out. And so I've already had
Absolutely.
notice that people, hey, Jim, I
That's
see
awesome.
you
It's
took a
Jim Bono,
position.
I know.
$5.
Yeah, exactly.
Wait.
Exactly.
We had a standing, John Pizik and I, every time we go to an event, we would say, John, you mention my name, I'll give $5 to charity, and vice versa. So every time we were in the crowd, I say, John Pizik. So he, $200 later,
That's awesome.
John Pizik's donating to some charity, and likewise with myself. So,
That's a good way to do
Yeah,
it. That's
it was.
a good way.
Yeah,
So,
that's why I keep saying that, Tiffany.
Right. Okay. So you got your five. So you
'Cause
knew
I'm
about that
popping the
already
money.
too.
Yeah,
There
yeah,
you go.
yeah.
Well, good. Well, then I'll ask you too. So anybody who doesn't know you, and so tell us a little bit about yourself. So like you grew up around here, or did you
Yeah.
move back here? How did it all work?
First
So-
generation American. My parents were immigrants
Awesome.
from the old country, Italy, and they came here in the late 50s, and
Okay.
I was born in 62, and actually in Frankfurt. We lived in Frankfurt for about till I was 6, and then we moved. My father built a house in Schuyler. He worked in the factory and had a little farm that he rented out, and had a cash crop. And I remember the days of living on the farm and going to school in Frankfurt, Schuyler, and grew up there. Graduated in 1980. Went to St. John Fisher University now.
Okay,
It was a
yeah.
college when I went, but graduated in 84 and went right into family business, what my dad started a manufactured housing communities, mobile home parks.
Okay, yep.
For rental.
Okay.
But he started that, and we got into that and bought another one, and my brothers got into it. My middle brother Jack got into it. He graduated 3 years after I did. And then I have a younger brother named Joe, who's 12 years difference from myself. And we just continue to grow, and we own and operate about 8 parks throughout the state. And so big landlord of sorts. So I've dealt with people, and we do it all. I'm a carpenter, plumber,
That's cool.
electrician on the side when I'm not doing this. And, I'm at the point now where we've got it down to science. So we have people who work for us, and my brothers and my son and family members. So it's been a good living. And so I got into politics 22
Gonna
years
ask
ago.
about that.
Yeah.
How did you get into politics?
2002. Actually, I had Mr. Van Duzen, who was an old timer, and he was well respected in the legislature at the time. He was I believe, a majority leader and a Ways and Means chairman, finance chair at the time. His daughter and my wife and I were friends through the kids in school, and I went to a graduation party once, or I can't remember, it was a party, and we got to talk about politics. And I was always involved in politics. I was a class president a couple years. I was dorm council president. So I guess
Always through the lines
yeah,
then,
so
always,
it
yes.
started young. And he talked to me, and he said, geez, why don't you run for legislature? And I go, I thought about it, and I go, all right. I mean, that's a big step. Usually you start at the town level or the village level. And
Yeah.
I said, okay. And I ran. And I ran against the chairman of the legislature at the time, was Mr. Nightingale, who was a great guy. And I had nothing against the way he ran things. I said, let me run. And I won. And, I sat in the seat and I remember that it was September 11th was the primary, and it got canceled.
Okay.
Obviously because
Yeah.
of that day. I remember putting signs out that day, and then
Wow.
I walked in my father's garage. He was watching TV in the garage, and I saw the horrific events unfold. So it got pushed back, and then I was elected, and then I just ran through the ranks and got up there, and I think 6 years later I was vice chair, and I got involved in the IDA. I was Solid Waste Authority. I got appointed to all those things that you should be appointed to or should be involved with, or I was the sucker, one or the other.
Nobody else wanted to do it. Yeah.
But I did them, and somehow I did all those things, and there were very few times where there were conflicts, and when there were, I would either send somebody or, apologize for not being able to make it, but it worked out, and so 22 years later, this again, just Deb decided to leave, and I said, geez, maybe because people kept telling me, you're the face. You've been the face for a long time.
I agree with that.
And so here
When
I
I
am.
heard about it, I said there couldn't be a more perfect person. Well, I'd love to see you, but again, with term limits, I didn't realize there were term limits. So I'd love to see you in that position. But now that you can't, I think this is great too, and
No,
I think it's a good stepping stone.
Yeah, I could still run. I could
Okay.
still be a
he could have been a legislator, but not.
But
We
not
have term
chairman.
limits for
Yes.
chairman.
Okay.
But
Okay.
and if you look at the 2-year terms, they are term limits.
Yeah.
If somebody doesn't
Yeah.
like what you're doing, then 2 years later you're
Yeah.
down the road. But
Yep.
anyway, but
This is-
so here I am, and I
very
got
nice.
4 granddaughters, and
I was going to say,
yeah.
so how does your family feel about this now, transitioning from being in politics to now just being the face of Herkimer County? It's got to be a little more exciting for them.
Yeah, my wife, I think she's relieved a little bit because the
Yes.
schedule's not as hectic
Yes.
with being in politics. But I enjoy it. The grandkids were over last night. I got 4 granddaughters, so pray for me.
Oh boy,
Yeah.
all girls.
Oh, jeez.
I've got donation jars all over the place. So, but they're at the age, they're 7, 5, 4, and 3. So they, Poppy spoils them. I do a good job.
Yeah.
That's my job.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Very
So
exciting.
and life is good right now, and I enjoy it, and I guess that's
Yes.
the best part of it, or what matters most is if you enjoy it, then it's
Absolutely.
easier to do it.
But just think, you get to go out to all these festivals and events, and you're getting paid for it.
Well,
So you get,
yeah, you know what? Even I'll tell you
Some
what,
of them, maybe.
so,
yeah.
I put in a lot of extra time.
There'll be extra
even,
hours,
even
yeah.
when on weekends something comes up on the page.
Yeah.
I post it. I'm off the clock, but it takes a minute to do, and it's otherwise I'll forget it at my age.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
A,
So,
that's a key.
do it
That's
right
a
away.
key. Yes,
Yeah.
if you don't do
So
it,
you're
then-
always working, and it's not about the money. It's
it's fun.
it's just fun, and it's you're your own person. You set your own schedule pretty much, and I'm here today doing this, but you need to do it.
Yeah.
You
Right.
need to do it,
Right.
and I appreciate the help that you guys are giving us.
Absolutely.
And it's a team effort.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah. You'll see so many interesting things. Yesterday, I spent a couple hours on a movie set.
pretty
And
neat.
did some behind the scenes film and interview, and just there's fun stuff going on. People don't know.
You don't even realize.
Yeah.
too. I think
Yeah,
it'll
it's
be
just-
very exciting for
Yeah.
you. Yes, for sure. So I'm going to put you on the spot now. Now you got to pick some favorites. Now that you're not in the politics realm, we got to pick some favorites. So where would be in Herkimer County? Now we'll try and keep it in Herkimer County. Your favorite place to get pizza?
Oh,
I know. I'm putting you on the spot now. See, so
your top 3. You could
top,
say
you
top
could
3.
do top 3
You
too.
could do top 3.
But if you really want to,
we have more pizza shops
Yeah, we do.
per
I
capita
know,
than
that's
any
why-
place in the state. How do you
Well,
give me a question like
I'm
that,
thinking of your
Tiffany?
granddaughters because I'm thinking where would be their favorite spot that Poppy could take them and they'd
I
be
will
really
tell
excited.
We actually have a pizza oven in our backyard.
Oh my
Okay.
God! Here we
So-
go.
Oh, no.
I guess the best place is home and
Poppy's place.
Yes.
Poppy's place.
Yeah.
And ironic that you mentioned that, but I posted. We it was between Christmas and New Year's, and all the kids were home, and we had pizza night.
Yep.
So we put all the ingredients out one night, and we were having pizza. And my back porch is sort of like a man cave, and so we were all there. And then I, like Poppy always says, why don't you kids get out here and go do something else, because they were getting a little rambunctious. So they left. They went in the other room, and it was quiet, and we were all conversing and joking.
There's your first clue. It was quiet.
Yes.
Too quiet.
Yeah.
So my daughter walks into the kitchen, and she goes, "Dad, you better get in here." And it was just flower fest.
Oh my God!
The two little ones were up on the counter, and I'll show you later. And I did post.
We can run that video on the show.
I posted it on my Facebook page, and it got like 1,500 hits. So maybe I'll make some money out of this. But but there's just flour all over the place, and the two older ones just dropped a pizza on the floor, and it took 45 minutes to clean up. So. But as far as I guess home is the best place, I got so many friends in that business. If I say anything, I'm gonna,
Tiffany, he's a politician when he weaseled out of the answer.
Let's see. How about ice cream or greens? Even greens or Utica greens, but that's kind of what's Herkimer County famous for food? Pizza, I would think.
Well,
what's our thing?
I don't know.
Pizza.
Big City.
You think it's pizza? I guess you can get good pizza in Utica and other places.
I'll tell you what, there is so much good food in the region.
Yeah.
Whether it's Herkimer County or Oneida County or the region. Yeah. We have the best food around.
Yeah.
There's
a great variety.
New York City, wherever, Vegas, you can get some upscale stuff, but good, solid, staple,
I'm
nice
missing the Texas barbecue,
and
though.
Italian
somebody's
food,
got to do that right. Yeah. Texas barbecue, man.
That's your retirement. You guys got to start your own restaurants here. Pizza
place
hell no.
Here,
Poppy's Place, and we'll have a barbecue.
Just had ribs last night, Dave.
It'd be 5-star barbecue if I did one.
Yeah.
There are so many good places to eat. I mean, where do you start?
That's why I asked you, because I said I'll put you on the spot. Because I think
and it's
there's
the ones
lot.
and it's the places that have simple food.
Yes.
You don't need all this extravagant.
The family kind of meals.
We go to Florida, I can't find a mom and pop place to eat. It's very, very hard to find. You have all the chain restaurants, but most of them are, they're big places, and you have to really search for them. So that's one thing we have going for us. We don't have a lot of big chains. We have a lot of mom and pop places.
Yeah.
So
you're going to get me in trouble with these questions because I just know a ton of people in the restaurant, especially the pizza business, and they're just they'll choke me.
And that's why it's good that you're in this position then. See, so you know every pizza place around the valley and the county, I should say.
And we will push. By the way, to get back to the whole Facebook thing, we will push the businesses that are the private businesses, the for-profits. They may say, "Well, geez, you're not really pushing, the profits." And certainly the Chamber of Commerce has that, but they're membership driven. But we will have and I want to talk to Dave on this later, maybe do a spotlight of businesses on a weekly basis and put those out there, whether there be pizza shops or antique shops or anything.
We might be stuck on pizza for a while, though, right?
And we'll have a list, and certainly if you want to be included in that list, contact me and I'll give you a website.
Absolutely. So, well, and I'll ask you this final question, and this should be an easy one. So why would you tell someone who's listening, maybe not from Herkimer County, why should they move to Herkimer County, besides having a small town kind of feel for anybody?
Or even come here for a festival or event?
Why would you want them to come?
Because we have a hometown for you.
Yes. And it's happening, right? It's happening.
Yeah, there's so many quaint towns. Look at the village of Newport. And when I first ran, I had a portion of Newport, and I go, boy, this is just so quaint and picturesque, and it's got the West Canada Creek or Crick, depending on what side you're on. But it's so pretty there, and quiet, and the Poland area, the Old Forge, and then you have the Route 20 corridor, West Winfield, and Columbia, and those rolling hills. And
it's so different from one end to the other.
Right. And
really
you have the valley and every point in between. So north, south, east, and west, again, there's a hometown here for you, and we can make that hometown for you. And there's a lot of good things going on. As far as I'm chairman of the IDA also. I wear that hat.
That too, yeah.
So a lot of jobs have been created in those probably 4 or 5 years. Probably
business sparks are really
2,500,
happening.
3,000 jobs, and more to come.
Yes.
There's
Yep.
and I promise you there will be announcements coming forth right here and soon, and there'll be more progress and quality of life things. Without the jobs, you can't have those
Yeah.
quality of life, and that's
Yeah.
what businesses look at.
Yep,
Where can our employees go?
Yep.
What's the
Absolutely.
community like? What's the politics like? What are the healthcare? What are the
Yep.
schools like? They look at all that when they come into
Yes.
our community. So.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There was a national governor's study one time that was done that was talking to tech workers and what were they most attracted to. Strangest answer ever, arts and culture.
Yeah.
And so, you got to think
You
about
have
those
to have all
things.
that.
Yeah,
Yes.
you've got to have that stuff.
When we brought Tractor Supply in a while back, I was on the tour. We actually rented a bus and we drove them all over the community.
Yep.
And we came down Main Street here in Little Falls, and they fell in love with it.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I mean, the bigwigs from,
Yeah.
they love the canopy.
just the feel.
And the
Yep.
the walkability, and they just like the vibe. So
Yep.
it was, and we don't realize it. We live here every day. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
It's true.
But, just to an outsider, they look at it and say,
Yeah.
wow. And and that made it easy for them to invest in,
In
they
the
put
area.
a $100 million building with close to 800 jobs right now.
That's a big
over
deal.
there, and it means a lot. And they're good living wage jobs, and those people can
Yes.
stay here instead of losing people. And obviously, in this state, we're losing people, and especially our young people, and we
Yes.
want to keep them here.
Yes.
Yep.
And we want to make things attractive. And I tell my kids haven't really left. My oldest is in Rochester. If that's leaving, then
Yeah.
But as far as leaving the state, and I tell them, I said, what do you think kids in areas that are populated and have all this stuff, what do you think they're saying? They're bored too, because
Yeah.
they've done it all, and
Yeah.
there's nothing to do here. So you have to look at that and appreciate what you have around you and make it better. But it's another talk about people
Another podcast, right?
Migrating out of the state. So
Yeah.
I was going to say that's one we'll key into that. I'd like to see you maybe do a podcast of your own someday. We'll see about
We'll
what's
see.
happening in Herkimer
Yeah,
County.
yeah.
I-
Needs to be one.
One day,
I'm
definitely.
not
I think you got a lot of content coming
ruling
up.
that out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
So, well, now
I'll make them regular, just like prune
I
juice.
know. I was going to say.
Wow.
That's good.
Just turned red.
That's refreshing.
So, well, I don't know. We'll scroll it maybe or whatever, but what is the easiest link to find everything and then to contact you too? Like if people have events,
Yeah, if-
everybody can contact you, right? It's
We
not
do
just,
have a Facebook page.
Yes, okay.
It's Herkimer County Government.
Okay.
And government spelled right out.
Okay.
And if you want to contact me, you can. My email is vjbono
Okay.
at herkimercounty.org.
Okay, perfect. So any events and stuff that people may
Yeah.
want to see or
Post.
maybe see you at too, because you're going to be making appearances eventually. Or okay, perfect. So
And you could contact me through iMessage. And
Okay, yeah.
our phone number is 315-867.
I know, I was
He's
gonna say.
got to look at that car.
I want to make sure.
Say.
315-867-1379.
and no complaints about the county, right, anymore. That goes to someone else. Now
Well,
this is all the fun stuff.
If
So
I can, deflect it, I will help someone out.
I'm
but,
sure they'll.
but,
Yes. Well, good. Well, I'm so happy you were on today. I really wanted to talk to you, and I said, I really like that you're doing this now because I think you have a really likable personality that kind of comes through. I think if you're listening or watching even, and you grew up here, you're really behind Herkimer County. You know it all the way through. Your kids are here.
And we want everybody to say Jim Bono as often as possible.
Right. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I
Yes.
will donate.
So I really appreciate you taking the time, and I wish you the best of luck as you're going forward. I'm sure you're going to do great. So
I appreciate this
yes,
immensely.
yes,
This is
no
great, and I
problem.
look forward to maybe doing it again.
yeah, absolutely. So all right, we hope you enjoyed today's podcast, and we will talk to you guys next time.